Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing what your ex is thinking during no contact. I provide audio coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my websites for more details. www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing what your ex is thinking during no contact. If you have gone through a breakup and want to try to get your ex back, lots of people will suggest that you implement the no contact rule. However, there are many different versions of a no contact rule that you can find online, and I believe that my version will give you the best possible chance of success. So I suggest that you subscribe to my YouTube channel and ring the bell for notifications so you can familiarize yourself with my version of the rule. I even have a playlist on my YouTube channel entitled The No Contact Rule, so you can listen to it all the way through and immerse yourself in my version of the rule and understand why I believe it will give you the best possible chance of success. But what is your ex thinking during the time that you implement my version of the no contact rule? In today's podcast, I'm going to discuss 3 different perspectives on this very question and look at the likely thoughts your ex will have if and when you implement my version of a no contact rule. So let's get straight into this. And number 1 is when dumper implements no contact. So if you're the dumper, the no contact is used differently. And if you're listening to this podcast and you are the dumpee, then please keep listening through as I will be getting onto your perspective very soon. But right now I'm concentrating on the dumpers, and if you're the dumper, then no contact is used differently. After the breakup, you aren't likely talking to your ex. However, this isn't the no contact rule, because you aren't trying to get your ex back. And in my belief, people implement the no contact rule if they want to try to get their ex back. Now, of course, it also helps you through breakup recovery and many other elements of self-improvement. But for me, the key to using the no contact rule is if you want to try to get your ex back. So if you are the dumper, then at the time of the breakup, this is not the case. You aren't talking to your ex anymore. But this isn't because you're trying to get them back. It's because you have ended the relationship and you're moving forward with your life. However, if in the future you change your mind and you want to reconnect, then you will first have to send your ex a message. This is something that I've discussed in other podcasts, but the important thing for now is that for you to know that you must send your dumpee a text, and then at that stage, you will implement my version of the no contact rule. If you want to learn and understand more regarding what type of message you need to send your dumpee, then please check out the other content on my YouTube channel. But for now, we are concentrating on what your ex might be thinking if and when you implement no contact. And as the dumper, you won't be implementing a true no contact until you've sent this text, because you need to be in a position where you want to try to get your ex back and not in the position where you've ended a relationship and you are moving forward with your life. So what is the dumpee likely thinking now? So you are the dumper, you have ended the relationship, you have disappeared for a certain period of time, you have changed your mind, you have sent a text, and now you have implemented my version of a no contact rule. What is your ex the dumpee likely thinking? Now, of course, just as with everything I'm going to discuss in today's podcast, there is no 100% guaranteed way of knowing for certain what anybody is thinking and experiencing. What we have to do right now is generalize. What we have to do right now is let you know, in essence, what is the likely thoughts somebody will have. So in this example for the dumpee will initially be very confused. The dumpee has just been dumped. Maybe it was a very long time ago, and hence we don't know the position the dumpee is in right now. The dumpee is likely to be feeling confused though, because they are just getting their head around the fact that the relationship is over. If this was very soon after the breakup, then this can feel incredibly confusing as the emotions are all mixed up. If this was a long time after, if this was 6 months, 9 months, more than a year after, where the dumpee might have been in a position where they've started to stabilise their mindset, and this has come as a shock. All of a sudden they've received a text from their dumper, and they are now understanding that the dumper wants to communicate with them once more, and this can be very jarring. Because if you've just stabilised your mindset and got used to life without your dumper, and then the dumper has contacted you, you're probably thinking, well, what's going on here? I don't know whether I'm coming or going. I don't know what to think. I've only just started to feel better. What do I think? What do I do right now? If this has happened soon after the breakup, the dumpee might be in some emotional turmoil because they're probably thinking, well, does this mean we're getting back straight away? Why has the dumper done this? Why did they dump me? Why are they changing their mind? Things can be a lot more manic in the dumpee's mind if this has happened very soon after the breakup. But the important thing from a dumper's perspective is that whatever has happened in the past, you have levelled with your ex. You have explained to your ex the situation right now and how you are feeling, and you have left it open for them to contact you if they would like to chat. So whatever position this comes at the dumpee, what is likely to happen is that the dumpee, after the initial confusion, will start to feel their self-esteem rising. They will start to feel their power growing. They will start to understand and realise that their ex wants to speak with them again. And everything they thought wasn't possible has now come true. This will likely fill the dumpee up with self-esteem, whether or not they want to reconnect with their ex. It doesn't matter if the dumpee wants to get back with their ex or not. At this moment in time, the dumpee will likely be feeling great because they will understand that their dumper wants to connect with them once more, and that they have the power. For the first time since the breakup took place, the dumpee has an element of control. Now, whether or not the dumpee replies, whether or not the dumpee wants to be platonic or romantic, whether or not the dumpee is emotionally stable or unstable, at this moment in time, once they start to understand that they now have an element of control, the dumpee's thoughts during this time will be of happiness. The dumpee will likely feel euphoria. The dumpee will likely feel, I told you so. I told you so, that you would want me back. All of these positive feelings will circle the dumpee's mind because they will feel that they now have the power of choice. As I said, it doesn't matter whether the dumpee wants to get back together or not. They will feel this euphoric feeling in most instances. So if you are a dumper and you want to get your ex back, you have to understand that the dumpee is not necessarily going to want to speak with you again. You have to understand that the dumpee is not necessarily going to want to reconnect with you romantically again. You have to understand that you are giving up some of this power because you are now in this moment in time where you want your ex back and you have no idea whether your dumpee does. And this is where the power balance changes. This is where the scales of value switch. And this is where the dumpee now has control about what the future holds. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second point of today's podcast about what your ex is thinking during no contact. And point number 2 is when dumpee implements no contact initially. So point number 2 is when the dumpee has initially implemented no contact. What is their ex thinking? What is the dumper thinking and experiencing during this time? And if and when the dumpee implements my version of the no contact rule, initially the dumper is relieved. Now, as a dumpee, you might be thinking, well, I didn't want to hear that. I didn't want to make the dumper feel relieved. I want the dumper to feel like they want me back. Like, what's the point in implementing no contact if they're going to feel relieved? Well, what I need to explain to you is that this is generally a long game. Very rarely will you see a dumper get in contact with their dumpee within the first few days or weeks? It's often months, and it's often many months, if not years, and occasionally you will never hear from your ex again, and that's the reality. So when you initially implement no contact as a dumpee, you have to realize that the dumper will be relieved that they are not hearing from you right now. They have ended the relationship. It was likely emotional. It was likely stressful. And the dumper ended the relationship because they lost romantic emotional attraction. The dumper ended the relationship because they did not find the relationship fulfilling. The dumper ended the relationship because they wanted to live life outside of the relationship, and they did not want to be chased by the dumpee. They did not want to be contacted by the dumpee. They wanted to live their life as freely and as easy as possible. So if and when the dumpee implements no contact initially, the dumper is relieved. The dumper's thinking, well, thank goodness they're not bothering me right now. Thank goodness they're not giving me this stress. Thank goodness I'm not having to go through all of this emotional turmoil with the back and forth approach of the dumpee chasing me, contacting me, really pressurizing me. At least I can now move forward and live the life I want to live. Now, what's really interesting is that even though the dumper is feeling relieved on the outside, internally and subconsciously, they are feeling confused. So the dumper is feeling and thinking outwardly, well, I'm really relieved the dumpee isn't chasing me. Inwardly, the dumper is confused. Inwardly, subconsciously, when they sleep, the dumper is likely thinking, I'm really confused why they're not reaffirming my value. Why aren't they pushing me on that pedestal? Why aren't they chasing me? So even though I'm happy they're not, I don't know why they're not. I'm really confused. And this is the intricacy of the dumper thoughts if and when the dumpee implements no contact initially. Is that they are relieved on the outside, but internally they're confused. Internally they're questioning their dumpee. Why aren't you reaffirming my value? I'm glad you're not. I'm glad that you aren't bothering me, but I expected you to. Why don't you need me? And they are the things that a dumpee needs to understand is likely what the dumper is experiencing and thinking if and when they implement no contact initially. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast about what your ex is thinking during no contact. And point number 3 is when dumpee maintains no contact. So in point number 2, we was talking about when the dumpee implements no contact initially. But now we're talking about when the dumpee maintains no contact. And what this means is that the dumpee doesn't freak out in the early stages, the early days, weeks and months, about when their former partner doesn't contact them. Because if the dumpee breaks no contact through desperation, all you're doing is resetting the clock. You're resetting any romantic emotional attraction that your dumper may have grown for you, because the dumper will be thinking, there they are, they've come back. That's okay. I don't need to feel stressed anymore. I don't need to wonder about them anymore. They're always there. They're always waiting for me. That is what will happen if the dumpee breaks no contact. But if the dumpee maintains no contact, the dumper will start to go through a more confusing time. As we said initially, the dumper was relieved that their dumpee didn't chase them, didn't contact them, and didn't bother them. But as we move forward, those subconscious thoughts, when the dumper was thinking to themselves, but I don't know why they're not. I don't want them to, but why aren't they? Those subconscious thoughts are likely to start to become conscious thoughts. And this is where the dumper will likely start to think about their dumpee, wonder about their dumpee, and say to themselves, did I make the right choice? They clearly don't need me because they're not chasing me. And if they don't need me, then maybe they was a better person than me. Maybe they don't need me because they found somebody better than me. And maybe I need them. Maybe my life isn't going so great as I had hoped. And I could really do with them because they clearly don't need me, but I'm not happy. So I need them. Now, of course, as we've said at the very start of today's podcast, nothing can be guaranteed. There is no 100% guaranteed way to get your ex back, and not every dumper will go through the process of reaching out to their dumpee, and this will ultimately be based on whether they've grown enough romantic emotional attraction for their dumpee during this time, and additionally, how they are living their life right now. Some dumpers will be living a life that they did envision and hope for. In these instances, they are unlikely to be missing their dumpee. But most dumpers, when we look past the 6-month mark of no contact, are generally not living the fulfilled life that they'd hoped for, and this provides a potential opportunity for them to consider their ex in a new light. Things such as the fading effect bias and my version of a no contact rule come into play. to help people start to think about their ex in a new way, in a new light, in a more positive sense, and wonder about them. So what is the dumper thinking of their dumpee if the dumpee maintains no contact? Well, they are likely to be thinking, why aren't you contacting me? And why are you living a life which must be better without me than with me? Because I just can't understand why you aren't chasing me if you really wanted me. And yet my life isn't that sparkling. It's not as happy and as exciting as I'd hoped it would be by this stage. This is what most dumpers will be thinking. And if they have regrown enough romantic emotional attraction for their ex at this time, they are then likely to reach out to their dumpee. But of course, it all depends on the relationship, the breakup, and the aftermath as to how much romantic emotional attraction the dumper will feel for their dumpee. Now, when I say this is about if the dumpee maintains no contact, this doesn't mean that you maintain no contact if you hear from your ex. Again, you need to fully understand my version of the no contact rule. It does differ from some of the other versions that you can find online. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and please check out my playlist, The No Contact Rule, to understand what I mean. Because maintaining no contact in essence is regarding maintaining no contact because you have not yet heard from your ex. If you hear from your ex, then things do change. So please understand what I mean when I say maintain no contact. If you are a dumpee, then in the vast majority of instances, your best chance of getting your ex back is to never contact your ex again unless they contact you first. There are a few caveats to this, and as I've said, they are explained in my playlist entitled The No Contact Rule on my YouTube channel. If you are implementing no contact from either the dumper's perspective or the dumpee's perspective, realise that this is trying to get your ex back, but you are also gaining so much more from it. It's helping you through breakup recovery, it's helping you through self-improvement, and it's also helping you to meet even better people than your ex. You might think this isn't possible, but trust me, if you do everything right, then it's win-win. You will either get your ex back or you will find somebody even better. And for me, I just want you to find happiness. I don't mind if you get your ex back or not. I don't mind if you meet somebody new who is a lot better than your ex, because for me, it's about fulfillment, it's about happiness, it's about satisfaction. And with or without your ex, you will have a positive future if you live a positive life and move forward in a way which includes self-improvement every single day. So I hope you enjoyed today's podcast, and I hope this shows you the likely thoughts that somebody will have if your ex is implementing no contact, and what you can do from both perspectives and how you can manage this challenging situation through your life. But always remember that happiness is around your next corner. You just don't know when your next corner is. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.
Yeah, if you miss your ex, we can help with that. Help you get him back, or we can help find you someone else. Yeah, Vincent Bo, the relationship coach, giving you some insight, bringing you a new approach. DateMe.tips, go and check the site, giving you advice, helping with your love life. Get your ex back, or move to the next. Ain't no sweat, you know Vincent Bo got you. Finding love ain't no problem. Yeah, DateMe.tips, check it out now.